Hello there. Thanks again, watching, listening, whatever you're doing. This is VIP Boxing's Bell to Bell podcast. I say podcast there. Episode 148. You're either watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes or Spotify. So leave us a review if you can. That would help. You know me, Steve Lillis. You know John Evans. Tonight's guest, one of what we're supposed to describe him, maybe one of British boxing's most consistent performers of maybe the last 25 years, you'd say. Box at the highest level, still looking to perform at an even higher level. It's Jazza Dickens who's joining us from his training camp in Dublin. How are you, Jazza?
You're right, lads. I've seen that Ryan Walsh has got another performance on the VIP Bell to Bell podcast, so it's time to get in there to see, because I need to stay consistent with being the most viewed guest on this podcast, don't I, lads?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, then you and Ryan are a good value on this podcast. So you were just telling me before we started recording, you're in Dublin, you spent half your camp with Derry as you do in Liverpool. Yeah. Now you're back with Peter Taylor in Dublin. When are we going to see you out again? You haven't boxed since last summer, since the Hector Soto fight.
Yes, I am going to move up to super featherweight now, Steve. I'm fighting in Malta on the 30th of March. It's only 5 weeks away now. That'll be on a Fight Zone card with Stephen Vaughan and Dennis Hobson, and they've also just been given a few Fight Zone dates. I don't know if you've seen it the weekend.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, I was punting. I was doing what you lads do on the weekends. Change the scenery. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's a piece of piss, isn't it, Jazza?
I didn't see it this weekend.
You know what, lads? It was mad because you can hear the thing in the ear. You can hear 5 different voices. It's crazy, isn't it?
No, you know what? When I was doing Box Nation, them they used to give you them. I'd never want to listen to them. I'd never listen to them. All I wanted to hear was the commentator's voice if I was at ringside, or Buncey's voice. I didn't want to hear what they were saying in the truck or talking about what they was eating on the way home or what sandwiches they had in there. Well, we weren't interested in that. I was only interested in the boxing, you know, proper pro, like John Evans it was when he's Box Nation days. You never saw John Evans with loads of earphones in and all that, getting all Billy Big Banana like you, Jazza. Jazza's done one the Zone show. He's Billy Big Time. Wants to be the director telling him, John. What do you make of it, John?
I used to finish work at an engineering factory, get on the train, get straight in my studios, do half an hour off the top of my head, straight back on the train, straight on to Manchester. That was my Box Nation experience.
That's right. And we got Jazza Dickens here who needs to hear what the director's telling him. Nah, I'm not having it. Jazza Dickens, the most level-headed boxer in Britain, has gone big time, John.
I only work on the Zone now, lads. So, what else threw me off, lads, was when you're talking in the mic, obviously you can hear each other talk, but you've got the music blasting in your ear, you can't hear your own voice. And that's what people don't see when they're watching the telly. You don't see all this stuff, do you?
Yeah,
There's a skill to it.
There's a skill. And Jazza, I didn't see the show the other night. I'm sorry. I was still celebrating Fulham winning at Manchester United with a non-alcoholic Guinness. Huh?
All about me. The fighting show's on and I'm talking about me punting.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do.
Well, just a quick one then. Jazza, what's the deal then? Because last time I spoke to you, you were dead set on Salsa on the rematch, but now you're going up to super feather. And what are you going to be doing? What's the plan?
I'm going to get myself back in contention, John, and get a belt. I'm not going to go back down to British level or stuff like that. I'm going to get myself a ranking and a straight in back with the big boys. But as you know, lads, when you lose, it's a bit like you're back down to the lower leagues for a little bit, isn't it? So you can prove yourself again. Someone's worth taking a risk on you. What have you? So that's where I am. I'm going to get myself a win, get back into the top 10 and get myself a world title again.
But there's loads of Brits at super featherweight, isn't there? And Jazza Dickens is a big name.
Yes, there's Michael Conlon, Lee Woods, Josh Warrington, if he's still fighting.
Telford, Jordan Gill.
Yes, loads of fighters, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Steve, how about a fight between Alex Dilmagani and Jazza Dickens?
Mate, that's a fight. Well, that would be a fight. You know what? There's so many names there. Forget these big world names. Have all these British fight, Jazza. You can make a nice few quid there. But you're thinking bigger belts, I think. But there's some great fights there. You against the winner of Jordan and Zelfa.
Yeah. No, what, lads? I've won an IBO world title, and to me, it's not enough. So I want world titles. You know, whoever's got them world titles, that's what I'm chasing.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll start recording. I know bouncing back from a defeat is one of your subjects, and round one is about that John's picked. It's about a boxer who keeps bouncing back from defeats, Sam Eggington. So do you want to kick us off, John Evans?
Yeah, let's go. Right, not so much talking about a fight this weekend with Barrow because it'll be a barnstormer because it's an Eggington fight, but just a bit of appreciation for Sam.
Yeah,
we love him, don't we? We had John Pegg on last week. What a career he's had. Never disappoints. He's overachieved. He gives his absolute all every time. I think he's much better than people give him credit for. We've not seen Sam in consideration for a fight with Conor Ben or Josh Kelly or anyone like that. They probably want no part of him. You know, he's probably not worth a risk, to be honest.
Yeah.
What is it? He's not even probably 30 years old yet.
Yeah.
So if he wins this European title, he's going to be banging the mix at light middleweight again. And I've not seen any attention about his fight coming up at weekend. You know, it's a genuine fight against a good guy in a Barrow. And Sam, again, he's flying under the radar. But yeah, just a bit of appreciation for Sam Eggington, who's one of my favourites.
You know what? I think no British boxer, you know, you get the public right off every British boxer, but people in the trade have written, you know, work in the trade have written Sam off so many times. You know what? He was slow bouncing back after that. I think it was Mamouni who beat him. He had a couple sort of marking time wins, then walked into Liam Smith. But since that Cheeseman loss, was that 3-4 years ago? He's been magnificent.
Yeah.
Absolutely magnificent. The way he's come back and beat good men since the Cheeseman fight. And we should just enjoy him and appreciate him while he's here. He's arguably our most underappreciated fighter. You must be a fan, Jazza.
Yeah, that's what I love about you lads. The media, the boxing media, they chase the big names, don't they? And they don't give the credit to the fighters who deserve it. And let's have it right. They're not getting he's not getting the call out. He's not getting his flowers. He's getting a few guys now, but he's not getting his flowers because he's not good enough, because he's too good. He's not worth the risk, like you say, lad. So it'd be nice to see him get back up there. I've seen a little bit of who he's fighting. All the stoppages for the fella come a bit early on in the fight, so if he doesn't get Sam out of there, which I don't believe he will, it's going to be a tough fight in it because he can fight like fuck. I always think about that Cheeseman fight when he was in the lockdown. One of the best fights I've ever seen. I went for the run rate right after it. It motivated me to go run it, and I'm a boxer myself. Just an unbelievable fighter, and he just goes under the radar. He works for work and sake, and he's happy with, you know, the rewards that he gets, which is probably little compared to what he should be getting. So yeah, big massive shout out to Sam Eggington. I hope he does, and he goes on to get his flowers.
Yeah, I'd love him to do it. You know, he'll have been a British champion at welterweight. He's beat some big names. Light middleweight, I think he's been better than his welterweight days. If you look at some of the people he's beat and the fights he's been involved in, you remember when he went up to middleweight and beat that Molina?
That's right. Yeah, the guy that yeah.
Silver belt. That just gets overlooked as well. And yeah, good lad, Sam, as well. So fingers crossed for him.
Yeah. Top fighter.
Shout out John Pegg as well.
And John Pegg, we had Peggy on a couple of weeks ago. He was well last week. He was well behaved though, actually. But he caused a few problems for us the time before with people, but we're not allowed to talk about that, Jazza. Anyway, round two, a fight where you were the daddy on Saturday night in your hometown, Liverpool Olympia. You had the cans on your head and you watched Conor Butler and Jay Harris provide a stormer by all accounts.
Yeah, Conor Butler against Jay Harris on the zone card, the fight zone card the other day was unbelievable. Everything that you want to see in a fight. I'd rather watch the little fellas than the big fellas. And you're going to get a knockout, obviously you're going to watch the big fellas, but it had absolutely everything that you want to see. I think the little fellas deserve more credit than they get. Experience was the telling difference. I think Jay Harris would come back down from where level. It was like, can he get back up there, or would he be surpassed by the young gun? He proved himself, Gary Lucky and his dad. They obviously came up with a great game plan. They came out faster than I thought, and the speed and power out of Jay Harris and the Welsh engine. He was relentless. He was brilliant. So it was great to see him go ahead. I don't see that Conor Butler drops anything. I don't think he goes down although he lost his Commonwealth and European title, I think he stays at that level. It's sometimes like the belt's not there to prove it, but he's definitely found his level minimum. Conor Butler can go on to fight for world titles. He doesn't lose his stock only goes up, and Jay Harris was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, it was a fantastic night.
Yeah, you mentioned his experience there. I saw the fight against Tommy Frank, the previous fight for Jay Harris, and there again it was his experience. And as I say, I never saw the other night, but it looks like at domestic and European level, only the very best at that sort of standard is going to topple him. I mean, it's incredible. He's 33 and a flyweight, and still winning these big belts. Flyweights usually fade a lot quicker than many other weights.
Do you know what? I was looking at that fight when it got announced about 3 months ago, and I thought, oh, that looks really good on paper. And I spoke to Jay on about the 4th of January, and he was beasting himself in the gym already. And he said, I'm fit as anything. He said, John, I'm fitter, I'm stronger than I've ever been. And I started thinking, well, hang on, if a 33-year-old flyweight's getting himself in this shape at the start of January, he's obviously still hungry and he's still fit, and Conor's going to have his hands full. And yeah. That's what proved
it. And it is when I think his dad, Peter Harris, he won the British super featherweight title, briefly held it. That you think you could well be challenging for, son.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, lads. I'm obviously Conor Butler's friend. That's why I'm talking about this fight right now. But when you're doing the comments and stuff like that, or you're doing the punditry, or how do you hold back how disappointed you are for the friend who loses? Because that's one thing that I didn't anticipate.
I try not to. I tell you when it was easier to do it, when you was doing overnight shows with Buncey, and you'd have someone because in that overnight Box Nation show, you was always a bit more relaxed. It wasn't as regimental as the Sky, so I weren't in that situation. John did a show with Alex Steedman, and maybe it was a little bit more regimented than what other shows were on Box Nation, I think. Not in a bad way, just the way you couldn't maybe not show your colours as much as what you could on the Buncey show at 2 o'clock in the morning. Because watching you then, I don't know, John can explain that maybe better than me. That was just how your show used to maybe come across, John.
Yeah, well, we did it a few days after, didn't we? So you probably didn't quite feel the same. But you could say what you wanted, but it was just I don't think, if you were doing that, I don't think you should be a cheerleader.
Yeah,
you've got to be professional. But I think you get to a level, like probably with me, with Zelfa, with Josh, probably, Ruthless Ryan, Jazza, where you get to know them so well, and people know that you know them well, and I think then you can tell the truth. But if you're friends with someone just off who no one knows, I think you've just got to hold it back.
I just think you've got to be professional, but come on, we care about boxing. It's hard sometimes. We love the sport. We're not. Look, we love the sport, and I can't help it sometimes. There's certain fighters I love. Liam Smith, for example. I won't have a word against him. John won't have a word against Denzel Bentley, whatever his result against Nathan Heaney. You can't help it sometimes. And Conor Butler's a mate, and you're most probably still kicking yourself that he lost that fight the other night. It can't be up. It shows you love the sport and you're human. We're not robots. We're not artificial intelligence.
Well, come on, I was cheerleading for Zach Miller when he fought Nathaniel Collins.
Of course you was, yeah.
But Nathaniel's a good lad as well, but it's just how it is, isn't it?
Yeah. And round 3, we overran there, so Leo going to tell us off. Round 3, right, we'll keep this to 3 minutes. Tell you what, how much busier can British boxing get? Look, this weekend, there's 10 shows this weekend in Britain. 90 plus fights in Britain alone over Friday or Saturday. It's just insane. People go about, when's it going to give? And it has to soon. But it's incredible. Most of these are small hall shows. We got the great Channel 5 show on Friday night with the European super welterweight fight with Sam Eggington. But it's just incredible. Our British boxing week after week keeps going with all these shows every weekend, be it in sports halls, be it in big arenas. I mean, there's a great fight this week. VIP are putting on Jack Flatley and Ryan Amos, a Commonwealth super eliminator. Carl Greaves has got a stacked card in Leicester, and I think virtually every fight is winning record against winning record. I just think, you know what? There's no country like Britain for boxing, and we should fly our flag a little bit more instead of moaning for it. Can you imagine any other European country that would have 10 shows on the same weekend?
Go on, Jazza.
Yeah, well, I think it's easy to do it when you've got television in it. But shout out to Steve Woods, Stephen Vaughan, Pat Barry, Tom Stalker, all these people doing them, Nelson, I can go on and on, can't I? All these people who've done the small all shows, putting the risk up there every single week for the fighters, taking the risk, taking the gamble, and hopefully that it pays off because they do it for the love of the sport. That's what I love to see. And a lot of these fighters, like myself, come through on these small all shows, and without the small all shows, you never get to the television. So I think that they're the backbone of British boxing. Shout out to them promoters who are doing it for high risk, low reward.
I was at one on Saturday, and Jazza, someone you'll know, the Baltic bomber, Greg Kennedy. He got his first after going 0-6.
Right, yeah. He's great at Baltic bomb. I match him quite a lot, and I tell you what, he turns up by himself most weeks, just a trainer. Sometimes his missus comes with him, you know, with a smile. It always is okay if my wife comes in. His poor wife, she comes to us. She came with him to Sheffield the other week. He had to get there at 4 o'clock to weigh in. The poor guy just had to sit in the arena till he boxed. There was no one in there, just TV set, there's TV setting up, and the Baltic bomber's wife while he was getting wrapped by Kev Marie.
He's great, isn't he? What a fella. He said to me, I seen him a while ago in the Golden Gloves, and he said to me, let's get a picture. Throws his head between my legs and picks me up on the shoulders, and that's how I was doing it.
Yeah, he's a bit of a face around Liverpool. He's always around, isn't he? He's a bit of a face on the Liverpool. He just drifts from gym to gym. Depends what day, doesn't it?
And he's starting to get a Scouse accent as well, isn't he? He throws little words in there like a Scouser, yeah. Everyone loves him.
Yeah. Right. Okay, John, round 4. How good is Florian Marku?
Yeah. So that's basically it. How good is Florian Marku? I don't know. I don't know. He's got this fight coming up with Chris Congo. And I don't know. I was talking to them both the other day. And I don't know if Marku is he a puncher who's got this big reputation and that's pushed him to new heights? Is he underrated? Is he a dangerous fighter for Congo? Can Congo make him look silly and stand him on his head? I've got no idea. Marku's so inconsistent. He can blast someone out in a round, or he can look to get outboxed over 10 like he did in his home arena. The only thing I know is he's really exciting and I love watching him. And I love his character he's got and his personality. But I've got no idea how good he is and how good he could be. What do you reckon?
He's better than I thought he was. He's been matched well. Most of his career, he's fought guys in winning records. He's not going to bother the top welterweights, but at first, call me cynical sometimes. Like a lot of these Albanians who start in London, they're just ticket sellers. But he's gone on and on. He's up with Grant Smith. I've heard 1 or 2 towers that I'm not going to say on here because I don't know if they're true or what. I'm not sure what his temperament will be like when it really starts going wrong one night. But look, he's done well to get where he is. He's got a bit of a brand about him. He's in this fight against Chris Congo. And if he wins that, he's in another big fight. So he's overachieved already, I think.
Yeah. I think he's, when you say he's good or not, I've seen him sparring with Sean McComb, who's a brilliant fighter. So what I've seen in there, he's good enough. And I can tell you he's definitely got what it takes. He's got a lot of the ingredients because he lives away. He travels. He probably lives away from his family. He's given his whole life up to pursue boxing. And a lot of fighters don't have the platform that he's got, but he has got it. And he's doing the do, and he's given his whole life up for us. So I hope it pays off, Will he get the results on fight nights? We're yet to see that, aren't we? So yeah, best of luck to him because I know he gives a lot to it.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, he's moved up to Sheffield, and I don't think it's a particularly easy gym, Grant Smith's gym.
No, it won't be. No,
he's had some tastings off Dalton Smith, and he's still stuck in there, and he's still plodding away. Yeah, the temperament's a big thing. If Congo's outboxing him for 7 or 8 rounds, what's going to happen to Florian? Is his head going to come off? But that's part of the reason you tune in to watch him, isn't it?
There's that mystique about him.
Yeah, he seems like one of them fighters to me, lads, where he can lose to someone not the best, and he can win someone who's very good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He seems like that type of fighter to me. I wouldn't write him off against anyone.
No. Yeah, I'm the same.
Round 5, Jazza, it's over to you. The comeback, having to start after a loss. You've come back before from defeat. You've got to do it again. What do you want to say about, you just called this round the comeback?
The comeback, it got me thinking when I seen Conor after the fight was in the changing room with Conor Butler the other night, and the scene just lost his Commonwealth, and and European titles. And as you've seen, lads, after the fight, you have to give your belt over in the ring, don't you? And then someone comes in the changing room and he give you back your belts, which now mean nothing. If that makes sense, they mean nothing because you're not the champion anymore. It's a bit of a sad moment, and it got me thinking about Conor and like it's how you'd have to go back down to League One, or you'd have if that makes sense. You're in the Premiership, you're flying 1 minute, and then you go back down to League One. All of a sudden, you've got to work your way back up. I think it's a little bit sad and a bit unfair in boxing, but it's what you've got to do. It's just the way it is. Who's going to fund you to keep on losing? That's the sort of risk that the promoters don't want to take, do they? But yeah, I would like to see a little bit more loyalty out of the promoters in that way, if that makes sense. And it definitely got me thinking about Conor Butler, because I know after his loss to the night, he's still at European level, because I've seen what Jay Harris was, and he's definitely world level. So it just got me thinking about the comeback. Sometimes in boxing, it can be a little bit fair. I'm probably going through it myself at the minute, losing in a fight that I should never have made the way to get down to, but he had to. He was the IBO champion at the time. And then the comeback is a little bit long and drawn out. And I'd like to see a little bit more like the MMA, where after the loss, people judge you on what you couldn't value. Still is. They don't sort of just throw you back down the pecking order, you know what I mean? It's a bit harsh sometimes, it's a bit brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal. But you know what? And maybe, look, I mean, I'm not saying, you're on, shall we say, the home stretch of your career, Jazza, now. Yeah, would it be fair to say that? In the sense, what I'm saying, I think in a few years' time when you have gone, I don't think it's getting less and less now. John might disagree, where the unbeaten record counts as much as what it did. Because we're seeing so many fighters come back. A few years ago, it was the be-all and end-all. And I think gradually, it's not great to lose your unbeaten record, because most fighters think they're invincible. But it's not like what it was a few years ago, maybe when you lost to Galahad. Was your first loss in that?
Yeah.
Galahad. So what I don't think it means as much now to come back from a loss as what it did. Yeah. What do you think, John?
It seems like to me like fighters probably like Conor and like Jazza, more so than the fighters on the small hall. It's almost as if you lose twice, because you lose the fight and you drop like out of that top division, as Jazza said, but you're still seen as too dangerous to match with other people. So surely if you've lost and we don't think you're worth putting on TV, you should get another chance so that another fighter can use you to build up. Yeah. But the promoters won't even take a gamble on that. So you lose your fight, you end up off TV, or you end up in an 8-rounder, and you're not seen, but you're also still seen as too dangerous for another chance. Yeah. So it seems like you lose a few ways.
But I just wonder, is there also, just on a much smaller scale from you're talking at a high level there, that's where you've boxed and where you've been defeated and come back to win at. But also, I think there's fickle fans in this sport as well. I was talking to a promoter today, I'm not going to name the boxer, who lost his unbeaten record, and he's gone from selling loads of tickets to selling to next to nobody.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But what it doesn't do, so like the promoters, I think they need to keep these fighters active, because you look at my weight now, there's Conor lost a few, Warrington lost a few, and now what? You know what I mean? Why don't these fighters just fight each other to get back up there? You know what I mean? Because that all doesn't, by getting rid of the worry about losing your all, you could keep boxing alive, if that makes sense. It's like boxing shot itself in the foot. Maybe it was the Mayweather thing years ago. I don't know what it was, but I think we could do a better sport like the MMA if you keep them fighters fighting.
Yeah. Before we go to the final round, Jazza, we talked to the top of the show about all those great fighters that are in Britain and Ireland: Conlon, Zelfa, Jordan Gill, Josh Warrington, Lee Wood. Sorry if I've just left anyone out next. There's so many of you. If the terms were right and you could fight any one of them, who would it be and why?
Steve, I don't care any of them, absolutely any of them. No, most of them. I've been offered to fight most of them, and I've said yeah. And then it just goes, up, and the contract went AWOL. Just doesn't know. That's just the way it is. So, right. Any of them.
Right. Final round. I'll tell you what, been a lot of attention about it over the weekend and today. It's where Canelo's career is right now. It's almost in limbo. He now looks like he's going back to sign for Matchroom after the suggestions that the PBC never put the money in escrow for his next fight. You just wonder where he's going to go now to get a major fight. I know Crawford's been spoken about, but it's almost as if 2 years ago, he was the global name in boxing. And now, obviously, he's big. He's the Mexican superstar in America. But I just don't think he is the figure he was. And his career just seems in limbo of who he's fighting. I mean, you know, David Benavidez, Belanga's been mentioned, Chris Eubank Jr., Munguia is maybe the fight for May that would get people watching. I just wonder where his career's going right now to get another, you know, marquee fight since the loss to Bivol. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I've lost a bit of interest in Canelos.
Yeah, this is what maybe I didn't put myself across as
No,
well.
no,
I think there's an interest waning in him.
You did, yeah. Obviously, he's one of the greats, isn't he, of a modern era? But he's got those titles. There's only one fight I want to see, and it's the Benavidez fight. But he seems to not be interested in that. He'll beat Munguia, I assume. He'll beat that Belanga, but neither of those do anything for me. The Charlo fight, I'm not particularly bothered about. He'll beat Charlo. Crawford's I love Terence Crawford, but I don't want to see him putting on 21 pounds to fight Canelo. So I'm not bothered about that. And yeah, he's the biggest name in the sport, but he's not got an opponent, has he, to really make you want to tune in and watch? It's a bit of a weird situation, really.
It's a bit mad though, isn't it? Because only a few years ago, he just went out dead fast and blathered them all, didn't he? So maybe it's his own fault for being too good.
He's got to start lapping them again.
It's just rather you put it across. Well, I just think there's just interest waning in him, John, because there isn't that challenger there for him. It's really, really strange. Like I'm reading about going from PBC back to Eddie today, and my thought was, so what? Who's he going to? You know, good luck to him if Eddie's giving him the money he wants. Great, and good luck to Eddie promoting him. But what is there that any promoter can deliver that will keep boxing fans happy? I won't be surprised now we suddenly see him have a fight in Saudi.
Yeah, in some catchweight fight, some peculiar. But I watched that Belanga fight, Paddy McCrory at weekend, and Paddy's all right, isn't he? But Belanga's not beating Canelo. So if that's his fight already for September, then it's a shrug of the shoulders.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to all drop our pride, lads, and just accept Jake Paul's the man who can do a job on it.
Paul against Canelo. It's coming.
Tell you what, the mad thing is, you make the point there, but we all know what would happen. But we would all watch it, wouldn't we? It's like we watched Tommy Fury, and if we all wanted to watch Tommy Fury and Paul, we're going to watch Canelo and Jake, aren't we? Come on, let's be honest. Let's be absolutely honest about it. If I remember when Tommy Fury was fighting Jake Paul, we said on this, look, it's almost like a guilty pleasure. We're going to watch it, and we did, didn't we, John?
Yeah, I watched it.
I'm going to watch Canelo, Jake Paul. Sign me up for it.
Jazza, here's a question for you both then. Because they may well end up looking for a way to recoup the money, because I can't see those two fights gaining much interest. Would Canelo be the type to play the game like Floyd did with McGregor and drag it out and carry him and make him look good? Or do you think Canelo's a ruthless character who'd take him out?
He's ruthless, mate. He's a pretty cold person. With Floyd, there was also the showbiz side, the making it rain, and there was that bit of showbiz, that bit of Hollywood. I know it was that bit of Las Vegas because he lived in Vegas. There was that sprinkling of stardust that went around Floyd. Now he'd go out there and just fucking spark him in 2 rounds.
I don't think he's got the cuteness to be able to. I think he punches too hard and to take the punch, the power out. Show the power out to kill you 10 times at one punch. So I don't think he could.
Jazza,
what do you think, John?
What would you do, Jazza, if you ended up in the ring with an influencer and they saw, they were talking shit to you before and they got your back up. When you got in the ring, they sort of won your respect, for getting in there. If you saw a chance to take him out clean, would you do it, or would you pull back a bit?
know what, John? I don't think an influencer could ever get in my head. I know that. I know that just all good. How could an influencer get in your head? Know what I mean? A YouTuber, a man who sits in a room playing his PlayStation in his bedroom. How can he? It's not a PlayStation 5 behind you there, John. You started to be an influencer here.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, Jazz, you'd go the distance with one of them.
No, I'd let him say what he wants and then kill him.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll leave it at that.
And then turn up at his funeral like, look at all, sorry.
Jazza, we'll leave it on that note tonight. Jazza, you've been brilliant. We'll get you on again in a few months. I know we've tried a couple times to get you on over the last few months, but you're giving Ryan Walsh a run for his money with your performance tonight. John was on top form tonight as well. So thank you both, and thanks everyone who has watched tonight. Great to have you two with me. Thank you.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.